Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are going to be looking at how to use the charts that are in Illustrator for you already to create infographics and use charts to express certain things. So here's my second infographic. This is in the form of a pie chart, and of course I'm using humor and experience from my life to create this infographic. So here it is: reasons I get up in the morning. One component is work, which is a very small part of it. Children is a little bit bigger portion of a reason that I get up, and then coffee is the rest of the reasons that I get up. Haha, right? I, of course, am not in any way, shape, or form claiming that my funny jokes for this tutorial are really, really good. It's kind of mom or dad humor, I guess. But hey, this is what I came up with for the tutorial. So please don't judge me too harshly on the level of smartness when it comes to the humor. But anyways, so I'm going to take all of this text and these path assets that I created, and I'm going to copy and bring those down, and I'm going to show you how to do the graph from scratch. So here, and of course they didn't copy because I didn't hold my key down long enough. Okay, so here they are. And so what we're going to do is you're going to come on over to this graph tool. And if you click down on it, you're going to see a whole bunch of options here. And so what you're going to choose is the pie graph tool. And what you're going to do is basically just click and drag about the size that you want it to be, you think. That can be, of course, edited later. And what you're going to get is the circle, and you're going to get the small graph. So these columns represent different numbers of things. And so what you kind of have to decide when you lay out an infographic like this and you get a table is you kind of have to decide, like, what is your total or what is the most. And so for this one, we're going to figure out what the total is. And for the bar graph that we do next, it's more of like, what is the most? So for this, let's say we have a total of 10, because we're not working with like a complex infographic here. This is for humor, to make a point. We're not dealing with real numbers, so we can kind of make it up. So let's say the total is 10. Let's say that I get up for work. That's one part of why I get up. Let's say the children are 20% of why I get up. So when you click into the cell, it's actually going to type it up here. But as soon as you click off, you'll see that your number appears there. And then I'm going to say that coffee is 8 out of 10. So here's my 8, and I'm going to click off. Now, nothing has happened to the graph yet, and that is just because we have to update it. So work is 1, children are 2, and coffee is 8 out of 10. So let's go ahead and click the check mark, and you're going to see those have come into play. So let's say you wanted to edit this. Let's just say you wanted to add something else. So if work is 1, children is 2, let's say coffee is 7, and then we decide to add this other thing that's also 1. So you could also do that and change your chart. We're going to click the check mark, and you're going to see it added another component. So you can edit this graph after it's created, at any time, which is really nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. I'm going to change this back to 8 because that's what my graph was. I'm going to give it a check mark, and we're good to go. We've got our different areas set up. So the other thing to know with these graph charts is to get back into that with your selection tool, you can at any time right click or control click on these, and you can go in and change the design, the data, and the type. We're not going to go through all of those because it'll take a really long time, but you can get back to your data chart here. You can also, if we go into design, you can make some alterations here, but I'm going to show you how you can just kind of, what we're going to look at today is just sort of changing the colors of the graph. so that you can, make some changes to it, but not get too in depth because, we can't go through every single thing. But I thought this would be a good way to get you all started with the infographic capabilities within Illustrator. So anyway, the next thing I want to do is to play on the amount of the reasons of why I get up. I have coffee really, really big here, and I have children and work a little bit smaller, but I'm actually going to make the size of the word more in relation to the proportions over here to just give further emphasis. So the first thing I actually need to do is I need to choose a background color for this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my rectangle tool and I'm going to drag that across. And then I am going to go ahead and send it to the back. And you can see everything else disappeared, but that's okay. We're just going to change the color of this. So if I go to libraries, I'm going to add, how about this color scheme? I'm going to add this theme to swatches, and then I'm going to come in to my properties panel and I'm going to change that fill color. And there's my swatch. I'm going to go ahead and choose. I would like that yellow, but it's really, really saturated. So I'm actually going to go for this more of a muted orange. I don't know, that's really intense too. Maybe we'll stick with this orange. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and choose my font for my big headline, which is reasons why I get up in the morning. This one can be a little bit, I can see this being more of like a handwritten situation. It's kind of silly, maybe a little tired. Maybe this one, Modern Love. Okay. So make that a little bit bigger. And then we're going to make this, we're going to go with, I'll keep my chalky black theme, I suppose. So I'm going to choose chalky black or dark gray, whatever you want to call it. And then I think I can actually use this font and style for everything here. So what I can do is if I want to mimic what I've done to this text, and this is something that I did in this particular composition, is so if this is the text that I like and I want to apply this to everything else, if I just shift select the other text areas and then I get my eyedropper tool and I eyedrop this text, it's going to change all those. Now it's going to change it to the size too because it's exactly mimicking what's going on, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and come in. I'm going to make this coffee really, really big because we're making a point. Leave that at 145. I think the children size maybe goes down a little bit. Let's say to 60, and then work, we'll bring that down to like 50 or 45. Let's just see how it looks. Okay. There we go. So now we've got work, children, coffee. Okay. So the other thing with these compositions to always keep an eye out for is that your text isn't too close to the edge. You always want to have a bit of a safe buffer area, and in general layout, you want your sort of margin areas to be about the same. So for this, I would want this to look, let's say, a little bit more centered. Okay, so for these paths, I'm also going to make some stylistic choices here. Just real quick, I'm going to make the ends rounded, and then I just want to make the stroke the dark gray as well. to match the design a little bit more. Now for this pie chart, what I can do is I can come in and grab my direct selection tool and I can just select parts of the chart. So I'm going to make work blue. Let's make children orange. Actually, I'm going to make work a lighter color. Let's make it yellow, and then we'll make coffee blue. So it's big and bright. And then let's see what changing the color. Nope, I don't like that. We'll keep the text the same color. Okay, so obviously this needs a lot more work on it, but this is just, you know, like I said, to get you started and using that chart and the chart capabilities over here and just thinking a little bit about how you can play around with the text to get your infographic working for you. Okay, so let's come on over to the last one. My hobby farm animals. This is an example of a bar graph. So I'm just going to grab this title and I'm going to pull it down. And let's go ahead and make some design choices and get that out of the way. So, whoops. I'm going to go ahead and select this text and let's just pick a font. For this one, let's just go decorative and how about this one? Kind of a Western. Actually, I am not liking that one so much. It's too decorative for the amount of words that I have here. Maybe, this is funny. Maybe we don't need the rest of the text actually. So like, I think we could just have my hobby farm. Isn't it funny how, or no, we could go like this. This'll work. All right, so we're just gonna adjust the spacing between the lines here. There we go. This'll work, this is fun. Okay, so I'm gonna select that all. And I'm just gonna use one of the color schemes that I used previously. So I'll go back to this one. So I'm gonna use a darker color for that. And then we just need to get a background going here. So grab this, do our rectangle, going to send it to back, and it's the same color as our text so that we can't see anything. Let's go ahead and choose this yellow color. Ooh, that doesn't even, I'm not even liking that. You know what? I'm just gonna go in here. I just want like an off-white color for this. So I want it to be white with a tinge of yellow. And that's a little bit less intense, but it's still not just plain white. So I'm liking that. Okay, great. And then I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller so I'm not constantly selecting it. Okay, so the bar graph. So let's go back over here. We're gonna choose well, actually we're gonna do the column. I suppose this isn't technically a bar graph, it's a column graph. So let's grab the column graph tool. And this is where, when I was talking about you have to decide what's the most. So what I'm gonna do for this particular little composition is we're gonna pull the bar graph out. You can see that it automatically chooses the font that you have selected, which is nice sometimes. It depends on what you're trying to do. For this particular composition, it's gonna work okay, this font, because there aren't a lot of complex things going on. But if I had like really long numbers or anything like that, I would maybe want to change it. But anyway, Okay, so let's say my farm animals, the number 10 is what I have the most of, which is what I have up here. So I'm gonna say, and you can choose on your bar graph, it depends on how you're trying to give information to your viewer. But my strategy with this one is that I'm gonna show what I have the most of and then go down to the least. And what we're showing is all the animals that we have. So I'm going to say for the first one, I have 10. And then I'm going to say that I have 7. And then 4. And then 1. Of course, nothing's happening to the bar graph because we need to update it. And there we go. So now we have this nice bar graph. We have the font in the font that we have up here, which is going to work okay for this composition. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And then what I want to do is make some changes. So I can, let's see, will it let me shift select all these? Maybe not. So I've changed the color here, and I think, let's see if it'll let me shift select these. I'm not really sure. I might have to just eyedrop. Oh, okay. So I can do the eyedrop tool on the entire graph, it looks like. And so that'll work for the time being. I'm just going to move this. I'm going to move this kind of up and over this way. And then I'm going to take this text here and I'm actually going to have it not align on the right side so that I have kind of more space over here. And so there we go. So now we're going to change the color of each of these graph lines. So I'm just going to go in and pick new colors for these individual bars. Okay, great. So the other thing I want to do, and I don't really want to use any more text, is I'm going to use imagery to show my viewers what is going on with how many animals I have. Because I know I have 10 of something, 7, and then 4 and 1, but I don't know of what. But I don't want to use words. I want to use images because we are doing an infographic, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a little help from my stock vector site, and I've got this particular these little graphs of animals. So I'm going to say, let's see how these are structured in the layers. So they're all grouped in one big group right here, and then they are grouped together individually. So they're kind of, it's like a nesting doll situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to object and ungroup if they're grouped up like that. And now you can see they're all on their own individual line. I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to grab the rabbit and I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it onto this board. And I'm going to say that rabbits are the thing that I have the most of in my hobby farm. I'm just going to set that cute little rabbit right up there. So now we know, without using any more text, that I have 10 rabbits on my hobby farm. Go me. Then the next one we'll do is let's do chickens. So I'm going to pick this chicken. I'm going to come back over to my project and I'm going to paste it in there. Now, everyone knows that I have 7 chickens. Now, with the number getting a little bit less, we're going to go with bigger animals. So I am going to let everyone know that I also have goats. And I could probably do some more work on the colors for these animals. they actually fit with the scheme okay. They probably need some more work, but for the sake of time, we must carry on. Okay, and then I have one horse. Everybody's got to have a pony, right? Okay. So here is a great example of me communicating to my viewer how much of things without using any text. And that is essentially, the point of an infographic is that you are expressing a lot of, you're expressing things with imagery, not so much text. So this one could have more, obviously we could use some illustrated elements for coffee and whatnot and children and work. But, for the sake of time, we need to move on. So you already have this, your timeline exported. So we're going to go through and export these as well. So let's see which artboards these are. So we're going to go over to our artboard tool, and I see that it's 6 and 4. And again, this artboard 6 and artboard 5, don't really pay attention to that. That's just the title of the artboard. But we know that we need to export 6 and 4. So I am going to go to File, Export As, and we're going to use JPEG, Arrange, and we're going to do 6. And I'm exporting this to my desktop. Perfect. And I'm going to hit cancel. I need to change the title of this, or I'm going to overwrite my other file. So we're going to call this coffee. That all looks good. Great. And then we're going to go export as, and we'll call this one farm. JPEG, use artboards 4. It was 6 and 4 that we needed to export. Okay. All right. So we're all done with that, and what you should have to turn in are 3 files, done in however which way you wanted to do them, but also showing that you were able to complete the basic tasks in the tutorial. So here they are. We've got the timeline, the pie chart, and then the column graph, technically. So those are the files that you need to turn in for this tutorial. As always, and I never say this early enough, if you've run into anything and you need one-on-one help with it, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to meet with you and help you through one-on-one. And yeah, so I hope this gets you a little, gives you a bit of a foundation to make some infographics yourself. All right, thanks everybody. Bye.